When you feel and comfortable, only when you feel steady and comfortable, gently close your eyes. We will chant the Yoga Sutra mantra. Yastyakva rupamadhyam prabhavati jagato anekatha nugrahaya prakshीण क्लेशराशिर विषम विषधरो अनेक वक्त्र सुभोगी सर्वज्ञान प्रसूतिर्भुजग परिकर प्रीतये यस्य नित्यम् देवो हि सित विमल तनुर्योगदो योगयुक्तः ओम शांति शांति शांति. Gently bow your head down. Bring yourself to the class. Prepare yourself for the session. When you're ready, gently lift your head up. Open your eyes. Externalize. Namaste. And we will progress from where we stopped yesterday. Before that, anybody who would like to chant the sutras, if you have memorized, we would be happy to hear those. If you are able to, we are just on the 9th, 10th, 11th. So if you are able to do the 10 sutras also, each with the class, within 8 months, you will not know when you have memorized the entire Yoga Sutra. Instead of doing it all together, the best way is to understand. So if you have, let me know. So we will listen to you, or then we will progress. No? Let's read it then from the beginning. Yes, Sutra number 1. I am just listening. Everybody else is going to read from Sutra number 1 to Sutra number 10. Please do read. I am listening.
अथ योगा अनुशासनम् अथ योगा अनुशासनम् योगश्चित्तवृत्तिनिरोधः तदा द्रष्टुस्वरूपे अवस्थानम् वृत्तिसारूप्यम् इतरत्र वृत्तयः पञ्चतयः क्लिष्ट अक्लिष्ट प्रमाण विपर्याय विकल्प निद्रा स्मृतियाः प्रत्यक्ष अनुमानगम प्रमाणानि. I have just practiced this much.
Yes, you can read the others. Others can read.
Yes. विपर्यायो मिथ्यं जन्मम अतद्रूप प्रतिष्ठम् शब्दजनानि नुपति वसु वस्तुधूम्ये विकल्पः अभाव परयत्यमल्लबान वृत्ति निद्रा.
Yes. Vritti Nidra. So yesterday we talked about the Vritti, which is Nidra. Is the screen visible to us?
No.
No. What did we discuss about Nidra? Do you recall Pratyaya, Alambana, anything from yesterday's class? What is pratyaya? What is alambana? Sleep, the state of nidra, is the absence of pratyaya, impressions, and alambana, mind holding on to something. Also make a note there. Many pratyayas make a vritti. Vritti is what? Many pratyayas together. So to have alambana, what is alambana? We also discussed alambana. Support for the mind, holding the mind to one thought. So alambana, to be created, to be practiced, vrittis must go down. The lesser the vrittis, stronger is the alambana, concentration of the mind fixed onto one object. So we will understand the chitta. Chitta is what? Mahat, ahamkara, and manas. Chitta, or the mind field, like a lake. Samskaras means our vasanas, our tendencies are the pebbles at the bottom of this lake. If there is sattva, which means if the lake is clear, you're able to see the pebbles at the bottom. Your own samskaras, which is the goal of yoga. Chitta vritti nirodha. When there is clarity, you're able to observe your own samskaras, which you have to exhaust in this lifetime. If the water is flowing, running, you can still see the pebbles, but not clearly. That is rajas, affected by rajas. Chitta is taken over by rajas. And in case the water is muddy, you know there are pebbles, but you really cannot understand how many, how much. That is the chitta filled with tamas. So when we are in the state of nidra, why we enjoy this state of sleep very much? Because there is no vritti. Why we enjoy this state very much, state of deep sleep? Because there is no vritti. The mind likes that state because it's absolutely still. There is no vritti. There is no thought. So we understood that this nidra is changed into yoga nidra by the yogi. And this is where we stopped yesterday, that a yogi reduces this time of nidra. Out of the 8 hours of sleep, 5 hours or 4 hours are yoga. 3 or 4 hours is the state of deep sleep. So they use this state of internalized awareness where the senses are not acting with any object in the world to dwell deeper, to dive deeper into their thoughts, into their mind. With this, we concluded yesterday's sutra. Now let's progress on to the next sutra. अनुभूत विषय असंप्रमोषः स्मृतिः अनुभूत विषय असंप्रमोषः स्मृतिः. Yes. Anubhuta, Vishaya. Anubhuta is experienced. Vishaya is object the senses have experienced. Anubhuta is what? Experience. Vishaya is sense objects. Asampramoshaha. Asampramoshaha means holding on or not slipped away. So when the experience of the sense objects has not slipped away, which means there is a samskara inside related to that object. Therefore the mind has done what? Mind has held on to it. So asampramosha, you can simply say not slipped away, is smritihi. So what is memory or smritihi? Smritihi means memory. It is the fifth vritti. Pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra and smritihi. So smritihi is any samskara within us, which is inside us, deep in the subconscious. When something on the surface is connected with that, we hold on to that thought. Otherwise, it's not everything we remember. Something which is very close to our samskaras or which has helped the samskara to rise up will always remain because it is unfinished business. You still have to exhaust that particular samskara, that particular vritti or tendency of the. So let's see the Sanskrit Bhashya commentary on this and then we understand the meaning. Kim pratyayasya chittam smrati ahosvid vishayaseti ग्राह्योपरक्तः प्रत्ययोः ग्राह्य ग्रहणो भयंकर निर्भय स्थाजातीकं संस्कारमाभरते स संस्कारः स्वव्यंजकाजन्य अस्तादकार एवमेव ग्राह्य ग्रहणो भयात्मिकां स्मृति जन्यति तत्र ग्रहणाकार पूर्वा बुद्धिः ग्रहणाकार पूर्वा स्मृतिः सा च द्वि भवति स्मर्तव्यस्य च भास्य वितर्मसव्य च स्वप्ने भावित स्मर्व्यत्य जगत्र सम्ये तत् भवत् अस्मितर्वेति सर्वाः स्मृतयः प्रमाण विपर्याय विकल्प निद्रा स्मृति अनुमान भावात् प्रभवन्ति सर्वाश्चेता वृत्तयः सुख दुःख सम्मोहात्मिका सुख दुःख मोहाश्च क्लेशेषु वाक्येयः सुखानुशयी रागः दुःखानुशयी द्वेषः मोहः पुनर्विद्येति एताः सर्वाः वृत्तयो निरोधव्याः असा निरोधे संप्रज्ञातो व समाधिर्भवति असंप्रज्ञातो वेति. So what is this sutra saying? Sutra chapter 111 says that the smriti or memory also brings up three things: sukha, dukkha, moha. It brings happiness, it brings sorrow, and it brings desire. Three things. So therefore, this vritti also must be removed. Means whatever we are learning upon the one who is enlightened, the one who is liberated, also drops this knowledge. What we are learning right now, the memory of this also should not be kept. So every experience the seer is going through, as the day ends, with the ending of the day, the experience must end too. There must be conclusion of each day, each thought before the seeker goes to sleep. And what it further says is, this smriti takes the shape and form of the actual event. So whenever there is the vritti of smriti or memory, instead of going into that same state which you were before, a seeker must see what the seeker has learned from it and convert the vritti of smriti to pramana. What is to be done? The vritti, the tendency of smriti is to be converted into the vritti of pramana or knowledge. And how this is done? By simply observing what was the learning. What did that event, that person, whatever happened, what knowledge did it bring to you about life? So smriti must be constantly converted into pramana vritti. This sutra says. Let's see the commentary in English. Memory or smriti is the vritti which is not lost, stolen after experiencing an object. In memory only, the substance of a vritti is experienced and not the external object. Memory is of two kinds. Something imaginary is remembered. And second, something not imaginary is remembered. Of these, the former manifests in the dream and the latter during wakefulness, which means in the dream, what is happening? Something imaginary is remembered. This sutra says something imaginary is remembered in the dream. And during wakefulness, the something imaginary is not remembered, meaning something which is not imaginary but a direct experience is remembered. We can take this as inference simply. What we take this as? Inference. So dream is like a memory. Strictly speaking, dream is viparyaya, having no substance. Of these five vrittis, the first three, pramana, viparyaya and vikalpa, occur in the wakeful state. Sleep is a unique state where there is absence of other vrittis. Memory is the effect of any or all of these vrittis. Yesterday we saw that all the vrittis have smriti or memory. Buddhi is the raw material from which these vrittis are shaped as images are shaped from gold. These vrittis are mutations, parinama of buddhi. Now they have introduced the term buddhi. Take buddhi to be mahat only. What is mahat? Cosmic intelligence. So this sutra says whatever you dream, even in imagination, exists, which means you cannot imagine something which is not there. It says in the dream too, there is cosmic intelligence, the samskara at the bottom of the lake. What happens at the bottom of the lake? Along with the pebbles, there is cosmic intelligence, mahat, the understanding of the entire world. So whenever there is an experience of imagination, this also is stemmed from buddhi, the cosmic intelligence that you. So smriti, three things to remember in this sutra. One, smriti can be of two types, memory. Something imaginary is remembered. This is usually the dream. And second, something which is not imaginary, that is visualized or that is remembered, something which you have directly experienced. For a yogi, both are useless. Yogi will not waste time in remembering what is already experienced and also recalling the imagination. So, further, Dr. Sita Nambiar here says that the smriti is also viparyaya, false knowledge. The former, dream or imagination, also is false knowledge. It's not useful. Now, this is little challenging when it comes to Tantra. Tantra makes the use of visualizations from the subconscious. The practice of Tantra is what? From the subconscious, cosmic intelligence, the intelligence of the universe, visuals. The mind is trained in such a way that you receive the visuals of what is there in the subconscious. But as per yoga, this vritti is also not useful. Smriti is also not useful. It must be immediately converted into pramana. What knowledge am I getting out of this memory which has surfaced up? What is the learning out of this? Now, yesterday we discussed that the sutras 12 to 51 will talk about the sadhya or sadhana. So from 12 onwards, we will see how these vrittis can be removed. Means we began the text by understanding two things. First, what is nirudhavastha of the chitta? Second, what is vyuthana avastha? After understanding vyuthana avastha, vyuthana is fluctuating mind. We understood why there is fluctuation of the mind. What are the fluctuations? We understood them in the form of vrittis or tendencies or thought waves. Now, after understanding these fluctuations, further sage Patanjali will take us towards removal of these vrittis or fluctuations. And after removal, we'll say that now you have attained the state of samadhi, and we'll discuss 24 types of samadhi. So Sage Patanjali is actually taking us from making us understand what is the mind field, what is Vyuthana Chitta, what is Niruddha Avastha. After Niruddha, in Vyuthana discusses all the vrittis till Sutra 11, and 12 onwards says how to remove these vrittis. So exactly the important part of the chapter 1 starts from Sutra 12. How to remove, what are the ways to remove these vrittis? Please chant after me. Sutra 12. Abhyas vairagyam tannirodha. Abhyas vairagyam tannirodha. So in the English translation, we see these vrittis can be controlled by practice and dispassion. Both abhyasa and vairagya are prerequisite for attaining niruddha. If one has disinterest in the world, but no practice of meditation, the mind's agitations will be pacified, but the mind will enter into a state of sleep or laya. You recall we studied laya and pralaya both. The yoga of samadhi will not be fulfilled. Only with gradual practice, meditation may be elevated to greater heights. So, first instrument for removal of vrittis is discussed. And what is this instrument? Abhyasa and Vairagya. Now, just to make a note on this sutra, this instrument is for Ucha Adhikari, highest level of seeker. Do you recall we discussed Ucha Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, Manda Adhikari, highest level seeker, moderate seeker. If you recall, we also discussed that the highest seeker has already reached a state of mind. If you recall that state, let me know. We had discussed Shipta, Mudha, Vikshipta, Ekagra, and Niruddha. So for the highest seeker who is already internalized and some vrittis remain, the first Abhyasa and Vairagya Abhyam Tannirodha is discussed or suggested. Let's see the Sanskrit translation. Chitta Nadi Nama Ubhayato Vahini Vahati Kalyanaya Vahati Papaya Cha. First line says Chitta Nadi Nama Ubhayato Vahini. The Chitta is like the river which is flowing downwards. If this Chitta, mind flows downwards means where? Towards the senses. Ears, taste, nose, smell, eyes. It takes us into degeneration. Vahati kalyanaya, vahati papaya cha. Ya tu kaivalya, pragbhara viveka vishaya nimnasa, kalyanavaha. Then says, in case this flow of the chitta, instead of directing it towards the senses, is taken where? Above the senses, the third eye, and beyond, this energy takes us towards cosmic understanding. You must have heard in the Kundalini practice also, we elevate the chakras till the Sahasra chakras. So in Patanjali's yoga, what is discussed? Removal or stopping this downward flow and directing this energy, this Chitta Shakti. We discussed what is Chitta and Chit Shakti. With the help of Chit Shakti, the senses are able to store the information in the chitta. Instead of taking it downwards, when it is taken upwards, what happens? Let's see. संसार प्राग्भरा अविवेक विषय निम्ना पापवः तत्र वैराग्येण विषयस्तोत्रः खिलीक्रियते विवेक दर्शनाभ्यासेन विवेक स्रोतः उद्घाट्येते इत्युभया दिनश्चित्तवृत्ति निरोधः. Immediately, the moment this chitta shakti is not directed towards the senses and it is taken upwards at the third eye with the help of concentration of the mind, chitta vritti nirodha is attained. Cessation of chitta vritti is done. But for whom this is? This is for the highest kind of seeker. Abhyasa and vairagya. Two ways for chitta vritti nirodha. Write in your text. For highest seeker it is abhyasa and vairagya. Abhyasa means what? Let's see what is abhyas, also a closer English meaning. For abhyasa, yes, you can write abhyasa as practice and vairagya as dispassion or renunciation. Abhyasa as practice, vairagya as dispassion and renunciation. So this brings us to our question. Will abhyasa and vairagya lead towards samadhi? What do you think is the answer to this? By only having abhyasa and vairagya, will be taken towards the state of samadhi? The answer is yes. For the highest kind of seeker, the best way to attain samadhi is abhyasa and vairagya, which means abhyasa means your sadhana. And what is this sadhana? 8 limbs of yoga. We will see. If not 8 limbs of yoga, any kind of sadhana which you do in different forms also leads towards samadhi. Not necessary it is Patanjali's. Concentrating the mind onto one object itself is also abhyasa. Concentrating the mind onto one object is also abhyasa. So for abhyasa, different instruments are used. Some people may take external objects. Some people may take a mantra. Now, mantra is not mentioned in the 8 limbs of yoga, but still you can take mantra for abhyasa or sadhana. And second is vairagya. So, Sage Patanjali says, if you are in sadhana, if you are chanting a mantra, you are doing abhyasa, but you have no detachment with the worldly objects. In such a case, this practice will not be fulfilled. So, whenever a seeker is in sadhana, prerequisite for sadhana is vairagya or dispassion, detachment from everything around. If there is no detachment, there cannot be progress in the practice. A seeker may practice every day, but there will be no progress which is experienced. And progress means what? The state of samadhi. So, abhyasa and vairagya. Just make a note. Abhyasa and vairagya is the first way of attaining samadhi. Second way to attain samadhi, we will see in next sutras, but just write it down for this week. So you meditate on it and next week I take it one by one. Second way to attain samadhi. So students go to Sage Patanjali in the Gurukula and they say that Guruji, Abhyasa and Vairagya is very difficult for us. Detachment, we are finding it very difficult. What to do in this case? Which means, can we not attain samadhi? So Sage Patanjali says that, okay, there is another instrument if you feel Abhyasa and Vairagya is weak for you at the moment, you're still working on detachment, take the second instrument. So the second way to attain Samadhi is Ishvara Pranidhana, surrender in Bhakti Yoga. Ishvara Pranidhana, in subsequent sutras, we will see in detail next week what is one by one. Just for now, in your notes, right? Second way to attain Samadhi is Ishvara Pranidhana. This is for not the Ucha Adhikari or the highest seeker. This is for Madhyama Adhikari, the medium level seeker who has interest to learn, but there is no dispassion or detachment from worldly objects. So Ishvara Pranidhana is the second way to attain Samadhi. Third way to attain Samadhi. Third way to attain Samadhi is Kriya Yoga. We will see what is Kriya Yoga. So students went to Sage Patanjali and they said that Swamiji, Ishvara Pranidhana or surrender is also difficult for us. We have so many questions. We are not even able to trust the teachings, the scriptures. You're saying Ishvara Pranidhana, how can we surrender? I'm not able to surrender completely. I'm not able to trust completely. So Sage Patanjali then advises Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga. But for whom Kriya Yoga is advised? For a seeker who is little less than Madhyama Adhikari, more than Nicha Adhikari, but little close to Madhyama Adhikari. Little better. Not a beginner, not intermediate, somewhere in between. No more a beginner, but moving towards intermediate. For such a person, instrument to attain Samadhi is advised as Kriya Yoga. Now again, some students were left, they said that Swamiji, in Kriya Yoga also there is a lot of breath work. It's very difficult for us to sit and simply observe the breath, scientific analysis of the breath. What do we do in this case? So for the lowest level of seeker or the Manda Adhikari, Sage Patanjali said, okay, now listen, I will give you the knowledge of 8 limbs that will lead you to the state of Samadhi. So Ashtanga Yoga or 8 limbs of yoga are for whom? For the lowest level of seeker. For the Manda Adhikari to attain a state of Samadhi, 8 limbs or Ashtanga Yoga is further discussed in other chapters. Otherwise, in chapter 1, Sage Patanjali was already discussing for a highest level of seeker how to attain Samadhi. Why Sage Patanjali had to write this text, compile these sutras? Because there were people who had detachment from the world, who had a concentrated mind, but they didn't know what to do with it. Their mind would go into laya or sleep. The moment the mind was calm, they would be restful. Concentration was good. Detachment from the worldly objects was there, but there was no spiritual progress. For such a seeker, Abhyasa and Vairagya was suggested to attain Samadhi. Abhyasa with the help of a mantra. For the second kind of seeker, Madhyamadhikari, Ishvara Pranidhana, surrender was suggested. So some students said that we are detached from the world, but we don't have a sharp mind. We cannot study all these scriptures. Does it mean we cannot attain Samadhi? So Sage Patanjali said, no. You are detached from the world. Mind is not very focused. Still, you can attain the state of Samadhi through Ishvara Pranidhana, surrender to your Guru or your teacher or God, whichever you. Now, some students went and said, we want to learn, but neither we have a sharp mind, nor we are completely able to detach from the world. So, Sage Patanjali advised Kriya Yoga. Means you start from working on the breath, Pranamaya Kosha, directly. Internalized, not externalized, internalized sadhana. Still, some seekers remained. They went to Sage Patanjali and said, we are absolute beginners. We are, forget about the detachment from the world and forget about concentration. We find ourselves in a state where the mind is degenerated. Means it is still filled with anger, hatred, other things. So first need is to purify the mind. How do we do that? To be into the practice of yoga. Then sage Patanjali says, now listen. The second chapter begins with the sadhana path. I will give you the 8 limbs of yoga. So for people like us, the lowest kind of seekers, Manda Adhikari, 8 limbs of yoga is described. These are the 4 ways to attain samadhi. Now in the following sutras, all these 4 will unfold one by one. If you have any questions, you can ask. We will be pausing here for today. I think I've got a very bad cold. It's little challenging for me to speak, but you can ask questions. We have time for questions. Hitesh ji, Jalpa ji, you are with us? Or all the 4 understood? 4 ways to attain samadhi. Abhyasa Vairagya for the highest seeker. Only practice and dispassion. Mind is already sharp, but the mind needs to be trained onto non-worldly object. Then we talked about Ishvara Pranidhana, means simply being in the company of the one who is in Samadhi. If you are in the company of such a person in Ishvara Pranidhana, close to your Guru, close to your teacher, you become just like your teacher, just like your Guru. So Ishvara Pranidhana. So be in close company. Just observe what is Samadhi. Then finally, we move towards the seeker who is not a beginner, but is not even externalized. For such a seeker, Kriya Yoga, working on the breath, is required. Kriya Yoga also practiced by Gautama the Buddha, Anapanasati meditation. It was a form of Kriya Yoga to attain enlightenment. And then finally we see sage Patanjali advises 8 limbs for the one who are struggling to understand what is the mind field. There is still attachment, there are still many things which are held on. This same Abhyasa Vairagya you will find in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan Sri Krishna advises Abhyasa and Vairagya to Arjuna, which means Arjuna was the highest kind of seeker. For Arjuna, Bhagavan Sri Krishna mentions there that Arjuna, to attain, to realize yourself, to understand who you are, just to be in Abhyasa and Vairagya. But they were a great teacher and greatest student. Yes, for us, 8 limbs of yoga. So now we know why we are in the Yama Niyama. Even for practice of asana, Yama Niyama is a prerequisite. You must write down the Yama Niyamas. How much are you working? Which is the strongest? Which is the weakest? When you practice the Yama Niyamas completely, the asana practice becomes better. Naturally, it becomes better. Once the asana practice becomes better, you don't stop there. As in further in Sadhana Pada, you will see Sage Patanjali advises for how much time you should be able to hold an asana. Then you can say that I am practicing asana. It's very interesting. In Sadhana Pada, all students are there. Many of them like us, able to attain the posture immediately. So Sage Patanjali says, no. You are attaining, you are able to do the posture. My body has become very flexible, but I don't see any flexibility at the level of mind. You're not able to come out of one event and move towards the next. So where is the flexibility? So it's very interesting as we progress. But for now, we will be pausing that. If you have any questions, please ask.
Yes, I have a question about the 11th sutra. So when we speak of memory that
Mhm.
is the memory of something imaginary. I don't quite understand it. So when we dream, then what does it mean? What is that memory, and why do we? So why do we dream if it is of no use, like for us?
Dream means what? There is rajas at the level of mind. Yesterday we discussed. If there is sattva, you wake up feeling refreshed. If there is tamas, you are in a state of deep sleep, but you wake up not refreshed. But if there is rajas, what happens? Especially vata dosha. People who have vata dosha I am saying, not vata prakriti. Vata dosha, excess. Vata, they will have the challenge with dreams. And dream is considered as false knowledge. So this dream is converted into creative power also, like for the writers or this capacity. Therefore, people with Vata dosha are also good in Tantra. They will always be good in Tantra and visualizations because the capacity of the mind is to have visual understanding, not by words, but visual understanding. They are extremely creative, Vata. So when it is the state of dream, what is exactly happening? Something we see, we imagine in the waking state. We carry that impression in the sleep also, which means we are not in the state of deep sleep. The sutra says it is viparyaya, false knowledge. And second is in the wakeful state, we have some memory. Memory are two kinds, it discusses. One, when you are sleeping, sleeping time memory is known as a dream. Wakeful state, also some memories meet us or visit us. Those memories have to be converted immediately into pramana. First one is to be dismissed as false knowledge, viparyaya. Second memory is to be converted into pramana. Hope you were able to get closer.
Yes.
Do you have a question? Yes.
When you wake up, that memory
Smriti will be there, yes. No. When you wake up and you remember your dream, that's fine. You acknowledge, you drop it. You will also remember the experience of deep sleep. We said all the four vrittis will have smriti. So even if you sleep deep and there is no dream, still you will say, I have the experience of deep sleep. So dismiss it as the same that okay, it was a dream. Only when it is in the wakeful state, you convert it to pramana. When you wake up and you still have the memory of the dream, you dismiss it as false knowledge. It's of no use to the yogi. Abhyasa and Vairagya is required. Please memorize the sutras. For the next class, you have a week. If I don't push you, you will not memorize those sutras. But when you actually become a teacher after 8 months, 10 months, and you say that, madam, unknowingly, I can actually chant each sutra till the last chapter, you will feel very proud of yourself. And that Shabda Samskar will remain. Naturally, when you teach your students, whatever I am sharing with you, all of that will surface. Even if you don't want to become philosophy teacher, still it's very helpful for you to discuss with your students as an asana teacher. So please make some effort that before the class, whichever sutras we have covered, you memorize those. It will act in a different way, whatever we are studying. We will conclude the session for today. Yes, Hitesh, please ask. We can't hear you. We can't absolutely hear you. Nobody can hear, right? Yes. Do you want to write in the chat box? You can't hear. No, he's not on that. Why there is a lot of emphasis on samadhi? Stillness, like the water in the lake. When it is still, you're able to see your own samskaras, what you have to exhaust for this lifetime. One, and second, you have cosmic intelligence. Means innate knowledge to you surfaces up when the vrittis go down. So state of samadhi is chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga's chitta vritti nirodha. Removal of vrittis. Stillness of mind is samadhi. Samadhi is nothing else but simple stillness of mind. Like I gave the example many times. When you take shower, there is this internalized state of mind, no vritti, no thought, innate knowledge surface. So for you to understand your own mind, it must be detached from what is happening external, internalized. Only in the state of samadhi, in stillness of mind, you will be able to direct yourself better. You will be able to observe who you are internally. The samskaras, life. The world is such a beautiful creation. We are so self-sustained. You think humans were born without their own purpose? Humans were simply made without knowing what they have to do. We are intelligent beings. So just we need to take ourselves to that state where this knowledge comes up. So as we progress, you will see that some yogis who are in the state of samadhi, their chitta is so transparent. They're actually that mirror that somebody comes and stands in front of them in the state of meditation. They open their eyes and they actually give the answer of what that person is thinking. So we become so clear as a mirror. You must have heard this. Many yogis, sages give answers, talk about the futures, are able to read minds. Means what? Their own mind has become so still that naturally any object that comes in contact with them, even if their eyes are closed, just being energy body, they realize the thought comes to them. A person meets them, a thought comes to their mind, and since it's not their own, they know that it is the thought of the other person, what the other person. Therefore, this clarity, this stillness of mind is emphasized as samadhi by sage. Yes, Ji, any question? Yesterday you had one more question you said, and you were going to read through. If there is, you can ask. But I can't hear you. Sorry, you'll have to write it again. I think it's the mic. I can't hear you. Please, can you write in chat box? Mandeep Ji, you have your pet friend with you listening to Yoga Sutras today also?
Yes, yes, he is there only.
Very nice. Are you typing, Hitesh Ji?
Yes,
You're writing
G.
down? Yes.
In the
Yes, Pooja.
meantime, when G is writing his question, let me just tell you that you have another one here. So who's just
Oh,
always
oh,
listening and
yes,
in the
listening.
classes. Always, even the Bhagavad Gita classes, he's always here.
Very nice. Very nice. See? Yes, I think we have your question now. So, why do we differentiate the light and the source of light? Doesn't light have a source? Self-illuminated. Self-illuminated. Source of everything. Is this what you're trying to ask? I can't hear you, but yes. So when we say the light is not, yes, so the Purusha is self-illuminated. There is light, and the Purusha can understand this light only with the help of Prakriti. How? By understanding I am not the Prakriti. I am not what all of this is outside. What are we doing? I am this, I am that. We associate who we are based on the objects outside. So the path of yoga is simply understanding I am not Prakriti. That's it. You don't have to understand the Purusha. You simply have to understand you are not Prakriti. And how you understand you are not the Prakriti? By observing, by being in Prakriti, by seeing everything. So as we progress more and more, it will make sense. But I'm just happy all of you are continuing to study. Ensure that you have some sankalpa or intention at home, some small fire ceremony. It's usually required. Otherwise, there are dukkhatraya, adhyatmika, adidevik, and adibhautik, three kinds of sufferings that meet you, that become an obstacle to learning. So ensure that, even if there is obstacle, even if you feel you've taken a pause, whenever you feel ready, come back to it. Come back to it. Keep coming back to it. Keep coming back. Again and again. And why we are learning all of this? I'm sure this has started acting on your mind in a different way. You're able to see life in a different perspective, the yogic perspective. If we are in yoga, it's always beneficial to have the complete understanding of yoga in such a way that we can claim, yes, I am a yoga sadhak. I'm taking yoga as my sadhana. Anybody asks a question, we are able to explain to them what yoga is. For me, all of you are pure instruments of giving the knowledge I have. This knowledge is my wealth, which I am able to share with all of you, thanks to you. So you become those pure instruments of knowledge. So after me, you do the same what I'm doing. You have students. There will be few, always remember, only 2, 3. But to them, you have to give everything, all of this in the pure form. We are not important here. The knowledge is important. We can just be the. So you're not coming to class for yourself. You're coming to the class because you want to contribute to the practice of yoga, which has benefited you in some or the other way, or you owe something to this practice. And naturally, when you learn all of it, even if you feel I want to keep this for myself, you will not be able to. This text will not allow you to. You will naturally stand, and just like I am sharing, you will start sharing this. You will start freeing yourself from this. That's it. Another one first month we have already finished, and I think we are doing good, around 12 sutras. So in another 1.5 month, we will finish the Samadhi Pada also. 2.5 months to 3 months. Shortest is the last. Kaivalya Pada, it will take around 16 sessions, 15 sessions, or even less. Last, but this another chapters will take 2 months each at least. So I have taken Samadhi Pada for 2 months, then Sadhana for 2 months, then Vibhuti Pada for 2 months, and Kaivalya Pada for 2 months. Like that, 8 months. Can be 1 month extra, 2-3 months if you want me to help you with the chanting and practice and memorize also. So 1 month is completed, just hold on 7 months. That's it. Yoga Sutra studies. You will feel so proud that you completed at least one scripture. Then if you want, you can study Hati Yoga Pradipika, other asana related scriptures also. With this, can we conclude today's class? If there are no questions, yes, bring your palms together at the heart center. We will chant Purnamadaha. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Shishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gently bow your head down. Be grateful for this knowledge, this learning. When you're ready, gently lift your head up. Open your eyes, external eyes. Namaste Ji. Thank you very much for joining. We meet again next week. Hari Om. Take care.
Stay.